Right. So welcome to this session related with offset voltage compensation. So we'll start with the background. We know that the op amp, practical op amp, has some limitations, and one of them is input offset voltage. Input offset voltage. Okay. Now this input offset voltage is part of the operational amplifier. It is because of the various imbalances in the circuit. Actually, the circuit has two paths. One is for non-inverting signal and the other one is inverting signal. So if the paths are slightly different in their characteristics, then it creates imbalance, and that imbalance leads to input offset voltage. The order of input offset voltage is in millivolts for general purpose op amps like 741. It can be in microvolts for low input offset voltage op amps like LF356 or OP07, sorry, and like that. But sometimes we need to nullify the effect of this input offset voltage. Its effect on the output needs to be nullified. So how to do that? The best option is a circuit. Suppose I have a circuit like inverting amplifier, and this is V out. This is this is V input. With respect to ground, and this is usually grounded. So instead of this grounding, we will make it slightly adjustable so that the output can be adjusted accordingly. So we can provide here some voltage which is adjustable. So how do we do that? We can do it this way. RA, RB, and in order to make this voltage adjustable, we can provide the potentiometer. Right. So this is R2, this is R1. Are you getting up to this point? Any query? We are talking about input offset voltage, and we want to nullify the effect of input offset voltage which will otherwise appear on the output. Are you getting the point? Okay, fine. So here we have to produce the input offset voltage based on maximum input offset voltage offset voltage as per the data sheet. Suppose the data sheet says 6 millivolt as the maximum input offset voltage. We can consider this to be plus minus 6 millivolt, and then as a some margin we can provide this voltage as maybe plus minus 10 millivolt. Okay. Now as a part of the calculations, uh, in the worst case, in the extreme case, let me show the extreme case, that is this point has reached this point. So this is plus 12, this is minus 12 volt. So with plus 12 you should get here plus 10 millivolt, and with minus 12 volt reaching, it should be minus 10 millivolt at this point, like this. So you can start with assuming value of Ra to be near about 1K. This can be nearly, you can find it out based on the values what we want, that is 12 volt into 1K divided by say 1 meg ohm. So it is almost 1000 times 1 by 1000. So this is 12 millivolt. Okay, so this is near about the required value with standard value of 1 meg resistor. So this can be 1 meg ohm, this can be 1 kilo ohm. These values need not be very accurate. Calculations can be done, but near about available value can be placed. Any query up to this point? Okay, fine. So this circuit is given in the book of Sergio Franco. You can refer to input offset compensation part, and this circuit will be available there. The only thing that we have to consider while designing this circuit is that suppose the potentiometer is P1, so value of P1 should be less than RB, and RA should be less or very small as compared with RB. Okay. Now why this is done? This will make the output at this point very small, because we want small voltage variation here, plus 10 to minus 10 or plus 12 to minus 12 millivolt. And this we want because we don't want RB to load the potentiometer. So this we want, and therefore RB should be large and this should be small. So if RB is 1 meg ohm, then P1 can be 100K, 10 times less. Everybody understanding this? Okay. Now in the same circuit we can incorporate the input bias current compensation also. Let me show that. I have explained this earlier, but once more I am explaining that. R1, R2. R1 is contributing bias current this way, R2 is contributing bias current this way, and there will be also bias current through one more resistor called Rp if it is added. So that current will be like this. Okay. So in this case, effect of Rp and effect of bias current through because of Rp, and effect of bias current, this bias current and these two bias current should make the output 0, because input is 0. So with 0 input, the output should be 0. This is what we want, VO. So we assume VO to be 0, assuming that everything is such that VO is 0. So if VO is 0, then R2 right hand side is at 0, R1 left hand side is at 0, and R1 R2, this middle point is shorted. So that's why R1 is in parallel with R2 virtually. They are not physically connected to each other like this. They are not connected like this. We know that. But since the voltage at this point is 0 and the voltage at this point is also 0, and these 2 points are already connected, R1 and R2 can be considered in parallel, and the total current is flowing here. Total current is flowing. The same current is flowing here. So the effect of R1 R2 is equivalent to parallel combination of R1 R2 at this point. So if we take Rp is equal to R1 in parallel with R2, the drop across this because of IB non-inverting and the voltage at this point because of IB inverting will be the same, and that will make output 0 if we input offset voltage is 0. Because at a time right now we are considering only one imperfection. Everybody understood this? Why Rp is equal to R1 in parallel with R2, even if they do not seem to be in parallel? Any query? If you have any query, you can. Okay. If you don't have any query, what I will give you as an activity, it's available in the book of, refer to Franco book, Sergio Franco book. So what we have to do is we have to merge this and this together. So there will be Rp here, Rp, and some calculations will be there. They will be very similar, but you have to refer to the book of Sergio Franco and combine the compensation circuits of VOS or VIO and IB and go through some solved examples. Everybody understood this much? So please go through the book of Sergio Franco. Maybe I'll provide some references for that, or I'll give it to Ninad, which he will circulate that, so that everybody will be able to go through the respective pages. Will it be useful? Okay. So somebody will find out appropriate pages, and they can share only those pages which have these circuits. And then you go through the solved examples so that you will be able to understand how to design the voltage like compensation circuits for VIO and IB. So the imperfections can be corrected. Imperfections will be there, but it can be corrected. For this correction, this voltage, this circuit has to be used. Okay. So please go through the respective pages in the book. Okay, fine. This is the first part. Second part I wish to share, maybe I'll show you one demo also, is the limited bandwidth. limited bandwidth. Okay, limited bandwidth of op amp. Op amp, ideally it will have infinite bandwidth, but it will be finite practically. So let me show you the demonstration. Okay, so by the time the machine starts, is there any query regarding what we discussed? We started with the input offset voltage compensation. We understood that op amp has some limitations, and those limitations can be corrected by having some adjustment. So this adjustment is input bias voltage correction adjustment or compensation adjustment. So this is the external adjustment because it is outside the op amp. Sometimes there is internal adjustment. It means the op amp's manufacturer himself gives the arrangement, and for that there are extra 2 pins made available on the op amp. So these 2 pins, pin number 5 and pin number 1 of 741. So here you have to take these pins and then connect a potentiometer, and this should be connected to minus VEE. So by adjusting this potentiometer, you can adjust the compensation, you can adjust the imperfection in the op amp. Okay, that also you can refer to data sheet. Please refer to data sheet for this circuit, or you can get it on Google, no problem. Fine. So let me show you the circuit first of all. So this is a circuit where there is a closed loop. Okay, so it's a unity gain amplifier. The input is given to be a small signal. As you can see, it's 100 millivolts. Since the gain is unity, the output will also be 100 millivolts. The frequency is set to be 1 Hz. That will not matter. The signal is sine wave source. For frequency response, we take sine wave as the signal. The frequency is automatically changed because we are plotting frequency response plot. So for this, I'll just remove this, and then we'll go to frequency graph, and then frequency response, and then draw it. Okay, then we'll find out V out here, then double click here and set the reference as V input. Then stop frequency, we can take it as 10 mega, and then right. Now if you can observe this is 0 dB and minus 3 dB is somewhere here, minus 3 dB. So if you find out what is the minus 3 dB, it's here somewhere. Let me adjust this to minus 3. This is almost minus 3 dB, and the frequency is 1.07 megaohm. So the unity gain bandwidth of the op amp is 1 megahertz. Did you observe this? Yes or no? Okay, fine. So what you have to do is, as a part of the practical, we have to assemble the unity gain amplifier, then give the sine wave signal which is of low amplitude, then provide the supply properly, and then use the frequency graph, frequency response graph. Just draw a rectangle here, and then drag and drop V out signal on the left hand side. If you put it on the right hand side, there will be phase response. Okay, so you can see the phase response also, but right now we will not go into that. Right. So what is the observation? Observation is you have to first of all look at 0 dB, that is unity gain, then -2 minus, this is -3, and -3 dB is somewhere here. Okay, so everybody understood how to do that? Yes or no? Okay, now what we will do is we will go to one more circuit, and what is this circuit? Whatever I am showing now, what is this circuit? What is the name of the circuit? Fine. So this is non-inverting amplifier. How much is the gain? 1 plus R2 by R1 or R1 by R2 in this case. So 1 plus 10k by 1k, that is 1 plus 10, that is 11. 11 is the gain. Fine. So we will find out the plot of this also. So if you let me go through this, and I will double click here so that the signal will go away, and then I will once again add this signal, drag and drop. Okay, and then press the space bar, and now look at this look at this. So how much is the gain? The gain is 20.8 20 dB, 20.8 dB. Okay, and what is the bandwidth? For bandwidth we have to go to -3 dB. So 20.2 minus 3 dB, that is 17.2. So we'll find out where the 17.2 point is there. 17.2, yeah, 17.2. You can see here 17.2 minus 3 dB, and then we'll find out what is the frequency. Frequency is 100k almost. Okay, so we got almost 10 times less bandwidth. Everybody understanding this? The bandwidth has come down to 100k from 1 megahertz if the gain is increased. Understanding this? Yes or no? Okay, so if you increase the gain, the bandwidth will fall. Okay, so now we will go to this particular circuit. What is the gain now? 1 plus 100 divided by 1, that is 101 gain, still higher. You can make it exactly 100, no problem. 99 plus 1. Okay, you can do that. I'll leave it to you. Then this I have already done, so just let us see what is this. So the gain is 40 dB. Okay, that is 100. We'll see what is the exact value. 40.1. 40.1. We want to get 3 dB less, that is 37.1. So let us go to the cursor and adjust 37.1. Okay, now we have 37.1 as the gain, 3 dB less. So now if you check this, it is 9.81, so it's almost 10K. So from 1 megahertz it has come to 100K and then it has come to 10K. Understood this? Yes or no? Okay. So this gives you an idea that the gain and bandwidth, the product is constant. If you increase the gain, the bandwidth falls, and if you decrease the gain, the bandwidth increases. Unity gain bandwidth is specified in the data sheet. For 741 it is 1 megahertz. So this experiment you will do. First of all, assemble unity gain, plot the frequency response. Assemble one gain with 10 or 11, whatever you wish. 10 it will be better. I have done it for 11 for simplicity. Then the third one is to assemble the circuit with gain 100 and observe the bandwidth, and observe that the bandwidth reduces as we increase the gain. Okay. If you want bandwidth and gain both, I repeat, if you want bandwidth and gain both, if you want more gain and more bandwidth, then you can have a choice that you have stage 1, that is amplifier 1 followed by amplifier 2. It means you have a gain of 10, bandwidth will be 100K, one more stage of gain 10, the bandwidth will be again 100K. So the overall gain will be 100 and the bandwidth will be near about 100K, which you can find out. This you do it practically. Okay, are you getting this point? So assemble a circuit whose gain is 10, observe that its gain will be bandwidth is 100K, then repeat this and then cascade this, find out overall gain and overall bandwidth. You will find that you can enhance the bandwidth as well as gain by having multiple stages connected to one another. Did you understand this? So you will do this as a part of the practical of this week. Okay. One more thing I will show you and then we'll take a pause. Now I have one more circuit, but the signal is now square wave. Signal is square wave. As you can see here, it's a square wave. Frequencies, signal is square wave, that is pulse waveform with initial voltage -5 to +5, that is square wave. Rise time by default it is 1 micro. Pulse width, that is percentage 50%, and frequency is 10 kilohertz. This is what I have given. Now if I do this, then suppose if I have a square wave, suppose I have an amplifier, then I have a signal input, but this is square wave. We expect output also to be square wave with higher voltages. It means the slope of this and slope of this should be same, because we want same signal, only the amplitude will be large, and this will be small, because this is input signal. I hope you are understanding. We have an amplifier, first thing. square wave input, then small input, output will be large. This is what is expected. But we want that this rising edge should be as it is produced, because we don't want to alter the waveform. Yes or no? The amplifier should faithfully produce the output. Yes or no? बट लेट अस सी वेदर इट हैपन्स और नॉट. तो उसके लिए क्या करेंगे, स्क्वायर वेव दे देंगे और आउटपुट ऑब्जर्व करेंगे. इफ यू लुक एट दिस waveform, you will find that the green one is the input. This is the green one. Green one is the input and red one is the output. Green one is the input, red one is the output. Okay, we can actually show this separately. How do we do that? For that, I think what I'll do, I will drop two plots. So here we have to select the analog graph. मैं एनालॉग ग्राफ एक लेता हूँ, एक एनालॉग ग्राफ. ठीक है, ये थोड़ा बाजू को रखते हैं अभी थोड़ी देर के लिए. विल कीप इट फॉर सम. ठीक है, और एक ग्राफ निकालते हैं. ओके, दो ग्राफ्स हो गए. तो एक पे इनपुट डालते हैं, ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप, और दूसरे पे आउटपुट. ठीक है, एंड सिंस द इनपुट इज ऑफ 10 किलोहर्ट्ज, विल एडजस्ट दिस टू मे बी 1 मिलीवोल्ट, 1 मिलीसेकेंड. ठीक है, यहाँ भी 1 मिलीसेकेंड लेते हैं and then press space. Okay, now as you can see here, I get a square wave. We can adjust the color, or I will set this to 0.2 millisecond. So I have only two waves here, two cycles here, as you can see here, 1 and 2. Since it is all green, it is difficult to see. Okay, but I hope that you are able to see that. And now here also I'll adjust this to 0.2, and now you can see that the output is not square wave, output is something different. Did you observe this? Input is square wave, but output is not square wave. Okay, this is happening because the operational amplifier has one more limitation called slew rate. Operational amplifier has one more limitation called slew rate. So this is the maximum rate at which the op-amp can change its output. Okay, we can measure that, not difficult. So this slope can be measured. It means you have to measure the change in time and change in voltage. So what you will do practically is measure change in voltage, change in time. So the unit will be volts per second. Since the time scale is in microsecond, as you can see here, time scale is in microsecond, you can write volts per microsecond. If you go through the data sheet of 741, and search for slew rate. As you can see here, we get a slew rate value, slew rate, and the value given by the manufacturer is 0.3 to 0.7 volts per microsecond. तो 741 के लिए कितना है स्लीव रेट? 0.3 typical, 0.7 maximum volts per microsecond. It means this is the maximum rate at which the op-amp will be able to change its output. Okay. Did you understand this? Yes or no? तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, साइन वेव देके आपको गेन चेंज करना पड़ेगा, देन बैंडविड्थ प्लॉट करना पड़ेगा, और स्क्वायर वेव देके आपको आउटपुट ऑब्जर्व करना पड़ेगा, एंड दैट ऑब्जर्व विल नॉट बी स्क्वायर वेव. If you get square wave, you have to increase the input frequency so that the output will not be square wave, and then you have to measure the slope, and this slope will be the slew rate. ये slope आपको measure करना पड़ेगा. You will measure the slope of positive slope as well as negative slope. Okay, both slopes you will measure as a part of today's practical. ये कर सकोगे आप? Is it possible? Did you understand at least? So we talked about the input offset voltage compensation. Then we asked you to refer to the book for some sample calculations, and then we went through the bandwidth simulation. We observed that when the gain increases, the bandwidth of the circuit decreases. Then we talked about the slew rate, which is the maximum rate at which the op-amp can change its output. This much we tried to understand today. I hope few of the things you might have understood. So please ask any difficulty if it is, otherwise we'll take a pause. Any query? Is there any query? So shall we take a pause?